So, welcome to the 6th episode of the where I make a build that fits the story of whatever character from whatever movie, with the caveat that I am not allowed to use any duplicate perks, nor am I allowed to use that character's teachable perks. And the character we're going to be doing today is Freddy Krueger from Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. And fuck me. For our first perk, we have Hex Ruin. After the Dream Child, Freddy broke free from his mother's embrace and wreaked havoc onto Springwood. With nobody to keep him in check, he was able to take out the entire population of children and teenagers within Springwood, leaving the town in complete ruin. For our next perk, we have Dark Devotion. One of the main plot points of this movie is that Freddy is actually unable to leave Springwood after killing all the children and teenagers. So what does he do? He uses one remaining child that he has left over to lure his own daughter back to Springwood so she can literally drive him through the barrier of Springwood to the rest of the world. Next up, we have Hex Nothing But Misery. In this movie, we learn that the reason Freddy is the way he is because he was dealt a very bad hand at life. His mother immediately threw him into foster care, he was mocked constantly by his peers just for the reason he was born, and his foster father relentlessly abused him every single day of Freddy's childhood. All this culminating into one of the most vicious serial killers before and after he became a dream demon. And speaking of dream demon, that leads into the final perk, Corrupt Intervention. It's established that Freddy is not simply just a vengeful spirit who is able to invade people's dreams, he's actually an avatar of the dream demons who seek the most evil human being possible to enact their dark doings, breaking the barriers between the dream world and the real world and spreading chaos and horror upon the entire world. Until Freddy ends up getting himself blown up.
Kids.
Anyways, that is about it for the build, and let's get in to the games.
You are all my children now.
Let's get into the likes and dislikes for Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. And oh my god, I don't want to do this movie. I honestly just want to skip over this and just do the rest of the franchise and just have fun with it, but I can't. I have a self-inflicted moral obligation to finish this franchise throughout. Every bad movie, every good movie, everything. Because honestly, it only goes up from here. Like, for the rest of the franchise, I actually really like every single movie. I like Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Freddy vs. Jason is probably one of my favorite movies of all time, and I actually really like the remake. Like, a lot of people really hate the remake, but I actually really enjoy it. And might be a little bit of childhood nostalgia or whatever you want to call it, but I really like the remake. I really like Jackie Earle Haley's performance, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But Freddy's Dead is such a fucking bad movie, man. There is really not a lot to like about it. Like, it is the epitome of a cash grab, but I found two singular likes to like about this movie. My first one is the hearing aid kill. I guess I technically have 3 likes for this movie, but I'll kind of combine it with the Carlos kill. But I really like how Freddy uses the trauma of his victims in this movie specifically, rather than their character traits like he did in Part 4 and Part 5. Like in Part 5, there was this kid who really likes comic books, so Freddy puts him in his own comic book and kills him with Super Freddy, which I don't really like all that much. I found it very lazy because it basically just made all these characters just have one note. They're one-note characters, and Freddy uses that one note against them. Very, very lazy. And also, it's not scary at all. Like, spectacularly, it was great. It's an amazing looking kill, but it's just not scary. The only scary part is the fact that the kid dies. That's really about it. But in this movie, Freddy targets their trauma, like with Tracy and her very abusive dad. I'm not going to get into it, but it's nasty. That's nasty as hell. And also Carlos with his mother, and how the reason that he's deaf is because his mother took Q-tips and jammed them into his ears and destroyed his eardrums. I like that. It makes it a lot more personal. It kind of reminds me of Dream Warriors with the junkie kill and how Freddy targeted this girl because of her drug abuse and injected her with heroin to kill her. I like that because it makes it a lot more personal, and it makes it more terrifying to that person specifically, and we kind of live vicariously through that person. But for the hearing aid kill, my favorite part about it is when Carlos is walking through the boiler room, but he can't hear anything because Freddy stuck a Q-tip into his ear and then cut his ear off for good measure and made him completely deaf. So he's walking through the boiler room, deaf as fuck, and Freddy is right behind him. And instead of attacking him, he's trying his best to be goofy and trying to get his attention by screaming at him, jumping around like an idiot, waving his hands and shit like that. And here's the thing, Freddy could literally do anything he wants to this kid that he wants at any moment, but he chooses not to. He just keeps on milking that, and that makes it terrifying, man. The only part I don't like about the scene is when Freddy turns to the camera and then shushes us, breaking the fourth wall. Do not do that. I understand it's Freddy. He's a goofy character, so you would think that he would do that once in a while, but he's never done that in the entire franchise. Never, ever. Freddy, turn your ass around. There is nobody here. There is no camera. There is nothing. Turn around. And I find it extremely creative how Freddy takes the hearing aid of the kill and amplifies it to 1,000 and makes every little teeny tiny noise amplified to the max. Like making a water drop sound like a beating drum, or making a nail sound like a dropping nuke, and finally taking his claws and scratching them on a chalkboard and blowing the kid's head up. That is horrifying, dude. And, you know, enduring all that pain and then eventually it just lights out after that. Holy shit, dude. For my final like, I have the flashback scenes. If you watch my previous video, you would know that I do like when we get background knowledge for certain horror characters, like Freddy Krueger. I like learning why Freddy is as depraved as he is. I find it extremely interesting. And in this movie, we learn a lot of information. We already knew from the past that he was born from a nun who was abused by 100 maniacs, so we know that from the very start, he was given up to adoption, so no mother figure, and also he had some very bad genes, so not a very good combination. We also learned that he was killing animals very early on, like 10 years old. Then later on in life, in his teenage years, he was abused by his foster father, and he learned to love the pain of being beaten, stabbed, slashed, and all that shit, and uses that pain against people. In other words, becomes a masochist and a sadist at the same exact time. Oh my god, dude. And then we learned that he had a wife and kid in his adult life, which is a very smart move, because if you're a serial killer who specifically targets children, nobody would suspect the family man would be the culprit of these murders. So Freddy had crossed his I's and dotted his T's, but it didn't really matter because he ended up killing his wife, and then his little girl ended up telling on him. But the biggest one is that we learned that Freddy is not just some vengeful spirit who came back and was able to invade people's dreams. He is an avatar of a bunch of dream demons who had sought out the most evil man in the world, and they found Freddy Krueger and they turned him into a dream god, basically. So I don't really like that all that much because it takes a lot of agency away from Freddy, even though he's fully down for, you know, killing kids and shit like that. But at the same time, it's not just him, it's not his own volition, it's not his own power as well, it's the powers of the dream demons. So yeah, I don't really like that part all that much, but it's still cool in concept altogether. Moving on to the dislikes, and for my first dislike, I unfortunately have Freddy Krueger. I hate the direction they took Freddy in these movies. Like I mentioned before, I like Robert Englund. I like him as Freddy Krueger. He's always the best character in all these goddamn movies. But I hate the direction they keep taking Freddy in these first 6 movies. He used to be so fucking scary. Part 1, Part 2, kind of Part 3, Part 4, Part 5, you're losing me, and then Part 6 is just cartoony for cartoony's sake. It boggles my fucking mind that they thought that this was a good idea. Sure, you want to have him be like this pop culture icon, you want him to throw out one-liners like a badass every so often, but I just don't like this version of Freddy. In the very beginning of this movie, he came in on a broomstick like the Wicked Witch of the East in a what's called Wizard of Oz-esque fucking dream sequence. That's what I'm talking about. He's just being a fucking Looney Tune character just for the fun of it, which is creative, it's funny, it's whatever, but it's a horror movie. This is not supposed to be a comedy. Oh my god, man. He just throws out one-liners, he's breaking the fourth wall like I mentioned before. He's just not Freddy anymore. He's not scary, and I fucking hate that. And don't even get me started of how much of a little pussy bitch he is at the very end of this movie. I'll get to that. You know, I'll get to that. For my next dislike, I have the fucking ending. I hate every single moment of this ending. It starts off with Catherine going to sleep and then putting on 3D glasses, and now the movie's in 3D. Yippee! Oh my god! And Every single 3D aspect of this movie was just so poorly done. The only one I do like is when she walks through the poster and the dream demon little worm things start popping out into the fucking screen. But then it gets ruined by Freddy's stupid ass fucking face coming in and eating you. I hate that aspect, but yeah, the 3D was just so poorly done. It was basically just, hey, here's a stick, I'm gonna poke it at the audience and say, hey, look at this, 3D, look at this is what you paid for, right? Oh my, I like the novelty of 3D, like I own the box set for A Nightmare on Elm Street, and I have the 3D glasses, the old school 3D glasses to do that, but oh my god, dude, like, it was just so poorly done. The only thing about the opening, or the ending, that I do like is the flashbacks. Like I mentioned before, I love every single flashback in this movie. But then we get on to Freddy being pulled out of the dream world, Nancy, what's his name? Nancy Thompson, oh my god, I forgot her name somehow. Nancy Thompson style. But in this continuity, Freddy's able to use his dream powers in the real world for some reason. I don't really understand that all that much. I mean, maybe that's true because he's killed a lot of kids at this point. Like, he killed the entire population of Springwood, keep in mind. Or the entire kid population of Springwood. So maybe he has a shit ton of power that he's able to use his dream powers in the real world. But at the same time, that kind of breaks all the rules of the dream world. Like, you're not supposed to have your dream powers in the... You're just a human being with just enhanced capabilities like strength and durability and shit like that. So, I just don't understand, man. But then, Freddy tries to play the little pussy-ass bitch card and say, oh, I tried to be good. I tried. I really tried. I loved you. Oh, no, don't hurt me, Catherine. And then, you know, does a little sly one and tries to slash her in the fucking face. Little bitch. Little bitch Freddy. I mean, granted, he is a fucking psychopath. He is a crazy, so obviously he's going to pull that stunt. At the same time, Freddy fucking Krueger of all people, man. Oh, my God. I mean, he didn't even do that in the original movie. He was full on heading after Nancy with a fiery passion. But then after that, Freddy gets his glove knocked off his hand and he's squirming to try to get it back. Even though he said, oh, I don't need my glove. I don't need it. I'm a man. I could do without the glove. I killed your bitch ass mother without my glove. But then he's like, all right, give me the glove. Give me the glove. Give it back. It's just, like, just going back on his previous statement entirely. And then the entire fight scene after that was just fucking awful, pinning him to the wall and then jamming a fucking pipe bomb into his chest and then blowing him up in the whole 3D effect of his head, eating his other head, and then the dream demons pop out like the little sperm cells they are. God, I hate this movie. For my final like, and thank God I'm almost done with this shit, is the purpose of this movie. I wholeheartedly believe that this movie was made for the sole purpose of making as much money as they possibly could out of the Freddy IP before they cut it off altogether. That is my firm opinion about this movie. And, you know, reason for that is, one, it was called The Final Nightmare. Freddy's dead, The Final Nightmare. Come see Freddy die in the last Nightmare movie ever, so having the whole FOMO aspect to it. And also the whole 3D aspect of this movie, which was a really big deal at the time. You know, getting more people into the seats of, you know, Freddy's dead because of the whole 3D shit. And they even had a whole ass fucking funeral for Freddy in Hollywood to promote this movie. They had the commercials, they had the 1-900 number. They tried to make as much money as they possibly could out of this IP before they just canned it all together. Oh my God, it is literally the definition of a cash grab. There was no heart, there was no love put into this movie whatsoever. It was just, hey, let's do this for the sake of making money. Let's do that for the sake of making money. You know, I'm done. I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. Let's get on to the Loomis meter. If you don't know what the Loomis meter is, it's basically just a scale from 1 to 6.
I shot him 6 times!
1 being bad and 6 being amazing, and for Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, I'm going to be giving it a 1 time out of 6. Now, I was very tempted at giving it a 2 out of 6 because I do like certain parts of this movie, but just everything else just overshadows it so much. The fact that this movie was just a huge cash grab, Freddy just not being what I want him to be. I mean, just also the acting in this movie was god fucking awful. Like, the character for Catherine was the most stiff-ass actress I have ever seen in a movie ever. Even more stiff than Rooney Mara of all people. I have a lot of words for Rooney Mara when we get to the remake for The Nightmare on Elm Street. Holy shit. But yeah, I do not like this movie. I hated every second watching it. I do not recommend you watching it. I recommend you just skip over and go to the nice, delicious Wes Craven's New Nightmare. You will thank me later. And also Freddy vs. Jason, by the way. Freddy vs. Jason, great movie. But that's about it. Let me know what you thought about Freddy's Dead in the comments down below.
God damn you.